Today I've been sorting through my box of seeds. I've worked through what I'm doing for the next few months. Now we're starting to approach the first signs of spring and time to start getting back onto the plot and sowing fruit and veg and flowers. So I've separated out a few piles today. These are what I need to do, or what I can start in February. I've also made a pile of March stuff and also separate flowers. So I'll have a look at them later on. But this is some things I'm going to be getting on with for the rest of February. We're already about the 11th, I think, so we're sort of a third of the way through, but we can make a start on some of these bits. And it's nice to get going, getting hands back in the soil again. Now we've done some prep work at the plot and things. So I've got a few bits here. One big one is some broad beans. So I already planted out back in, I think it was about October. I've got 2 beds of broad beans at the allotment, and they're doing pretty well. Most of them have come up. One bed, pretty much all of it has, and the other bed's got a few spaces. So what I was going to do this week probably is any holes in that, I'm just going to fill in with some of these dwarf broad beans and see if how they compete with the autumn sown ones, really, just to fill in the gaps, really. So these you can sow them indoors or outdoors from February right the way through to June, and then harvest from June to September. So it'd be interesting to see how they do compared to the autumn ones, and what sort of harvest we get. I do need to I've got fences around them at the moment, so we do need to protect them from various things at our plot. They do get eaten quite a lot, but we have had some good crops in the past, so it'd be nice to get them in. Another thing, something we'll sow at home is cucumbers. So we've never grown cucumbers, so it's a bit of an experiment for us. But I've got these 2 different types, so I thought I'd give them a go. These would need sowing at home, sowing indoors first. So I'll start some off. I might do a couple of pots now and a couple of pots maybe in March. See how we get on. So a bit of an experiment this year. Won't expect much from them, but we'll see what we'll be able to do. So they'll be on a windowsill. And the other thing is tomatoes. I do find it is a bit early February. You can sow them from February. Last year I did really well sowing direct with tomatoes. So what I might do is I've got 4 different ones here. I might just plant a couple of plots up, just because you never know what the weather's going to do. It might be a really warm spring, in which case I'll be able to get out earlier. So I might just put up a few, see how they get on, and then that gives me the chance later on put up a few more indoors, and then I think I'll do some more direct seeds as well. We normally do 2 beds in the garden at home for tomatoes, just because we like being able to sort of go out and pick them fresh. Pick them as we go around the garden playing, and they grow quite nicely here. Quite protected garden, so they get nice and warm. But I think I'll sow a few seeds this month, and then a few next month, and then some direct as well later on. But it's nice to start some off and see how they get on. Some other things for indoors. So got some cress. So the kids like growing this on the windowsills. Just a bit of fun, really. Obviously you can do it all year round. But I've got that out so we can, while I was looking at my other seeds, we'll do some more cress. And the last one is basil. So we did quite well at basil last year. We had it in our sort of porch that's it's a bit like a greenhouse, really. It's glazed, so it gets quite warm in the summer in there. So we did them in pots in there last year, and they did really well. So you can sow this indoors any time of year in the and harvest from May to October indoors. It does say you can plant them outdoors as well, sow them outdoors May and June. So I might have an experiment with that at some point, maybe around the tomatoes. But yeah, I thought I'd have another go at that. We did quite well with that. It's quite nice to have fresh basil. Quite a lot of the kids picked quite a lot of the basil as they were going out in and out the front door. They nicked the leaves, so that was quite funny. Quite nice to have on hand as a sort of fresh salady thing. This year we're sort of planning a lot of potatoes again. We like our potatoes because they store really well and we know we're going to use them. I'm going to try and do more peas. So come March, I'll be sowing quite a lot of peas. And I'm going to try and do sort of a few rounds of that. And a lot of beans, so a lot of sort of green beans. They're good for us because we can, A, we eat them a lot, but B, we can freeze them. I know they'll store really well. So yeah, we'll be able to use them a lot. And then we'll also do some of our squash, our courgettes, and a few pumpkins, I guess. Yeah, we did quite badly at our sweet corn last year. That got eaten a lot. Sort of struggled with that. So I don't know if we'll do quite as much this year, but yeah, definitely our squashes, our potatoes do well down the plot. Yeah, I'd like to do a lot more beans. They just need to be fenced in so they don't get eaten from the sort of pheasants around, the rabbits. There's quite a few things around that seem to like beans on our plot. So yeah, we'll do that. And cucumbers, might try some inside, outside, maybe some in the garden. And then alongside some of the flowers as well. But that's what we'll be doing the next couple of weeks. Start sowing something nice to get back onto it. I'll go and get some compost at some point. I haven't got any in at the moment, so I'll go and get some potting compost so we can get those potted up and yeah, get back into sowing finally after a long sort of winter break. So yeah, be interested to see what other people are sowing now. Anyone's getting back into it now. Yeah, hope you're keeping well, and I'll talk to you soon.